Ready? You're so embarrassed. You're not even.
Here you go. You got it. Metamoris 4 is coming. August 9. It's right here. We got Sonic versus Galvão. We got Barnett versus Lisner. What else? We got Cornelius versus Magalhães. We got Tony versus Keith Daly. Saul Ribeiro versus Comprido. What? And a secret match that we don't know. And that's what we got, guys. Welcome to the new BJJ Experience episode. We got everybody here. Who we got here? Someone that's be hiding between the scenes.
Behind the scenes. Between the scenes.
Someone's behind. You want to say hi to everybody?
Hello, BJJ world.
So, hello BJJ world. I'm Wanderson. We got here Mr. J. You don't want to say J. He's a J. He's just J. He's like I'm
just
a lot
of editing in this
I'm
one
just
now.
J.
No.
And we got
yeah, it's gonna be.
and we got this guy here.
El Jefe.
And today we're going to be talking pretty much about Metamoris 4. It's right around the corner, and we're just gonna talk about the matches.
We also got DC over here.
We got DC,
Dirty
and we got
DCDA.
That's not the one that's gonna fight John Jones. It's the other DC.
DB.
So that's what we got. But
Yeah, is it Metamoris 4? October 9th? I mean August 9th. You ready?
2014.
I
Just in case you wonder
can't
what year
wait.
it's
I
gonna
wish
be.
it was today. I wish it was today. Metamoris is one of those competitions that I really wait for. I guess the way
Yeah.
they do the previews is very like compelling you to be like, oh man, it's coming, it's coming. I like the productions. Relic's really good at production. They put money like in the production of the preview also.
Supposedly they got a deal now with UFC, right? Fight Pass.
The Fight Pass.
Yeah.
That's awesome, I think. I mean, that should take Jiu-Jitsu to the next level, right?
It's really showing its appeal. I think.
I hope so.
The appeal, but
Broader appeal. If they're going to be offering it on Fight Pass, that means that
You think that's because
more of a
they're-
fan base that they're showing.
you think that's because they got more UFC fighters on it now? I mean, or former UFC fighters? I mean, yeah.
I don't know what came first. Is it the chicken or the egg?
Yeah.
It's all connected. If you think really, who invented the UFC? I mean, what?
That's what I was gonna
Ralik's
say.
father. Ralik's father. Really.
Oh yeah.
Rainer, Rorian, and father, but they're like all involved. They're like cousins in first degree, and then now he's starting this tournament for Jiu-Jitsu, which is very big, kind of similar to what they did before in the UFC. Now they're coming all around, connecting again. But I think what's the main reason to have UFC guys is because they bring a different crowd to Jiu-Jitsu world, where any guy that just likes fighting, he'll be watching UFC. Maybe he's just a boxer, maybe he's just a kickboxer, maybe he trains everything, but he likes MMA, and then now he's being exposed to Jiu-Jitsu, which maybe he would never be.
I think it's gonna be awesome. I think we were talking about this, or you brought up the question about the UFC crowd, the UFC fans. They would start booing, you know, when the fight goes to the ground.
Unless it's a slam,
Man,
is it to the ground
or some type of ground and pound.
Or
that's
some
been
type of
happening
ground
a
and
lot.
pound.
But yeah,
it's
but
happening
grappling.
a lot. Guys,
if-
10 seconds of attempts and people start booing.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
or the referee stands them up.
Yeah, the
Well, that's-
referee stands him up if nothing is really happening. If there isn't any striking going on,
But
if it's
it-
just a defensive and position.
It's happening often.
situation.
I think the peer pressure of the booing.
It's
though,
more.
right,
It's happening more often
it is.
because of the crowd. The crowd's booing, and the referee's like, "Oh man, I gotta." And then they like, "We gotta move, and then they move it up. But I heard that before in other podcasts. They're saying it's a fight. If you went to the floor, it was because you allowed the other guy to take you down. And if you're there, you gotta be able to get up on your own. If you're not getting up on your own, means the other guy's winning. No matter what, the guy took you down, and he's winning. You're taking
It's
advantage.
like referees don't make any particular changes or actions if two guys are stand-up striking and they're just feeling each other out and no one's laying their hands on the other person's face or body.
Yeah.
No, it's very weird. I agree with it 100%. If your strategy to beat another guy is to control them on the ground and tire them out that way,
Yeah.
then so be it.
But there's
It's a
people that
fight.
only can win like that. There's people that win like, and they were like GSP. Come on, GSP's a great all-round fighter, but a lot of his fights he used that hugging style to be on top. So, but he's the champion. He was the champion doing that, and now we see that more and more UFC's pushing towards striking.
Yeah, it's almost a kickboxing competition.
Yeah, Americans love knockouts.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. Knockouts are exciting, no doubt about it.
When you don't.
But this is mixed martial arts. It's not kickboxing.
Yeah, well, a lot of submission artists are gone from the game too. I mean,
They're
not being able to.
Now the Metamoris is on Fight Pass. Soon they're gonna be like, oh, you can use strikers from the top, from the guard. You can elbow. Yeah, there are.
You mean Tudo's next?
Eddie Bravo made a tournament like that, like for people that are grapplers that want to transition into MMA. So it's strike.
Like an intermediate type of
It's
thing.
intermediate. It's not completely MMA. It's not amateur either.
No striking from the bottom. Yeah.
No striking on the bottom.
On the ground.
Only jiu-jitsu on the ground.
Right.
Because the
Yeah,
amateurs, but amateur MMA, it's very similar. But you can still knee. Like amateur, you can still knee on top. You cannot elbow, standing or on the floor, and you cannot ground and pound. Only a certain title fights on amateur you can ground and pound.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're not, it's very similar. But I like that idea of that because the knees you cannot knee.
Right. Well, at least 3
nor
points
punch,
down.
nor ground and pound. But you use jiu-jitsu, so it's kind of like.
Yeah. Now I haven't been to many amateur competitions. However, you do see booing from the bottom, or I mean when people are on the ground. And is that a trickle down effect from the UFC being at the top of
Yeah, definitely.
the world
Well,
in this?
I think definitely.
Yeah, all that tells me is the majority of the people who are watching these events
Don't know anything.
practice.
Don't practice.
Don't
Yeah.
practice MMA in any capacity.
Sure.
Not
That-
only
that
they
is-
don't practice, they.
And that's a success of something where it's not to say that the majority of people that watch football or baseball or basketball ever play the sport,
It's
especially
more-
basketball. You go to a basketball arena, Miami Heat are playing whoever the case is, and 96% of the people in the stands have never touched a basketball.
Yeah.
You know, they're all dressed up and it's a night out and it's an entertainment type of thing. And then maybe it's more interesting to them because it's foreign.
As was seen when they're losing and 90% of the crowd clears out in the finals from a home
That's
game.
us.
Yeah,
Well, that's a specific city.
Yeah.
But I think it's more.
Way to have their back when times get tough.
We've got our teams back, way back.
Yeah, right. We got them from the car beating traffic.
So this is it's cool that the sport has gotten so much exposure that it's able to draw a fan base from people who are unfamiliar with the sport, who've never practiced it. But at the same time, these are the same people that consider this sport as being extremely savage and barbaric. When in reality, it's
A
not.
few years ago,
No.
And it's not. Yeah, no, a few. You're 20 years ago.
up to
20 years
2000,
ago.
and before
That's
2000, the UFC was still seen as like totally like when there's no divisions of weight classes or weight
That was until
divisions
'97, right?
One
Which-
Zuffa bought.
Which is funny
It was
that
early 2000s.
the ground game, you could easily argue that the ground
But
game
that's how we started.
is significantly more gentle than striking and kicking and knockouts.
Oh, I'd much rather be choked out than knocked out.
Absolutely. I'd rather be tapped out.
Less damage.
I'd rather
You lose a
tap
few
from some
brain
sort of lock.
cells, but the other one you can have a concussion that takes you forever.
Yeah,
Like,
forever.
Well, but
Or never be the
you,
same
you
way.
have to say you
Yeah.
have to be choked out. You can be submitted by a leg lock, or you can be submitted by some type of joint lock, right?
Depends on the person doing the leg lock. I don't think I'd want to get into the grips of.
Toquinho!
Yeah.
No one wanna fight Toquinho.
Speaking of which, he should be let back in the UFC.
Yeah, you should.
He
That-
should.
Somebody with such a
But he was gonna fight now here in this local promotion.
Fight time?
Right time?
No, this
WSOF.
WSOF, and then he pulled out of
Oh,
the fight.
yeah.
So it was like everybody was like, oh, I don't know. Last minute he pulled out. So something happened. But where are we?
There's one left.
So we're talking about crowds.
We're talking about crowds. We're talking about Ireland.
Ireland, like jiu-jitsu tournaments in Brazil are totally different. Like here, the crowd just like.
In soccer stadiums, right?
But they're like screaming, singing.
That's what Rogan says.
And when you like fighting, it's like, ooh, va pegar, ooh, va pegar.
They make a whole day of it.
It's
like you
it's
show
like a
up
great
early, you party prior. It's like
It's
the
a
way
football game.
I was right now.
It's like a football game.
I
It's
was
the way we
training-
tailgate.
Yeah.
They
I'm in a
do this over
WhatsApp
fighting.
group with these people that was training Rio from GF team, Morcego, what's up? And they were talking about the guys that train with him, and they're all in this group, and they're like, oh, we got the beer, we're waiting for you, Morcego. And they're like talking about what's happened in the fight. They're having beer at the tournament and watching jiu-jitsu. It was
Nice.
Today was the Rio Open in Rio.
Oh yeah.
It was the Rio Open. And so this guy that I trained when I go to Rio at GF team, they were competing. But they're there and screaming, having beer, and really like
That's exciting.
That's
man.
like,
that
I mean,
makes it,
it's a different experience for the crowd. I don't know. I like that. As another side of the sport, MMA, jiu-jitsu, whatever.
But there's a lot of new things
the
coming
lifestyle.
up. There's a
You
lot
like-
of new things coming up as
you
far as
merge
like, the
everything.
sport. You got the Eddie Bravo Invitational, which is different.
Oh, yeah.
You have
It's
the
different.
freaking you
Eddie
have
Bravo's doing great things.
you got
for this
Hickson
game.
coming up with his new
I love what he's
federation,
doing.
his Jiu-Jitsu Global Federation, Hickson, and then you have Rapper's Quest that has like the Jiu-Jitsu Olympics now up in New York, I think. You know, they're offering big money, man. That's big money over there. So that's
Do you know what they're offering?
5 Gs, 6
no,
Gs.
$7,000 I think per weight class, and then there's like a whole bunch of other stuff too. So I mean, like,
Still, it's bullshit money.
What?
It's a lot.
I mean,
But
seriously,
seriously, oh, give me Mayweather money. What the hell?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
man.
You're
well,
gonna tell me there are no jiu-jitsu practitioners that don't train as hard as he does? Of course there are.
no, but there's no Mayweather in
I
the
know.
jiu-jitsu
I'm
world,
just
you know?
saying. I'm just gonna. Do I have to be half of his a 10% of his money? I wish
Yeah.
jiu-jitsu guys.
No,
did.
I
1%,
agree with you that the
1%.
money should be there.
1%.
However, you know, it's not. And besides, outside of him, you know, the boxing world is shrinking
We just use him.
quickly.
We just for you because he's the biggest.
It's
No, I
very
understand
weird.
what you're saying.
I agree. I agree with that statement. Outside of Floyd Mayweather, the boxing world really isn't that interesting, with the exception of maybe Pacquiao and a
There's
handful
like
of
one
other
heavyweight
fighters.
guy
Dude,
who's
the heavyweight
making waves.
division. It's
I used
like,
to
it's-
love
One dude,
heavyweight.
Deontay Wilder.
Now who you like now heavyweight?
What,
Heavyweight
boxing?
and
There's
boxing?
Deontay Wilder, and
I
then
don't
there's
know.
everybody else.
I don't follow. That's the point that I'm
In my
making.
opinion.
I don't even know. I mean, I don't consider boxing unless it's
There's no more Tysons, and the Klitschko brothers have had a run, and you know, they've gone.
as far as you're gonna.
I like to watch the
Well,
170
they've been
pound
champions forever, and
weight class
nobody
division in
competed with
UFC.
them
That's
really,
just
and
chock
they're getting
full of
older,
freaking
so
talent. I mean,
Yo, that 170 pounds is bullshit. You know what?
Under
Don't-
what?
The 170 pounds
170 pound bullshit has more talent.
Everybody's like Superman, 1'9". Everybody,
Because
there's
guy-
no
because
170. I'm
90?
170.
Because-
I'm 170. I wouldn't go there. I would get
No, because you gotta-
fucking
You would
killed.
lose weight. You would lose
You would
weight.
never
You
fight
would go at 145.
Think about it.
You
Yes.
would go at 145.
Think
And you
about
would
it.
step into the ring like at 165.
Yeah.
Who was that guy that just destroyed Nogueira last week in Johnson?
Johnson used to fight at 170.
He used to
man.
fight 170.
Yeah.
He's
And he's a big guy.
He's like a
dude.
monster.
He walks around at 230.
Now, yeah.
Yep.
It's all the technology and all the
That's
the abilities that
incredible
certain
amount of
nutritional
weight loss. Johnny
coaches have.
Hendricks
Well,
was
it's not only that.
45
It's just that you
pounds.
have 20. You already have 24 hours before you start a fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's the week before the fight, all you have to just concentrate on is
Water.
just
Not
losing
drinking
weight
water
and not drinking water
at all.
right? And then after
Coming in there
that,
like
you get to weigh in. You know whatever you rehydrate.
I'll tell you what.
IV bags, you know, you got the
IV
fighters
bags.
taking IV bags in the back. They don't
Yeah,
show that
by the
on
way.
TV.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
the second
That's not
Johnny,
natural. That's not a healthy
the second
thing,
Johnny
Back in the
Hendricks get
days,
off of the weight.
some guys used to pull blood out and then put back in.
no, that's done. That's
No,
done.
I said back in the day.
Back in the day. Yeah, for sure.
So like Johnny Hendricks' nutritional coach and weight cutting coach is Mike Dolce.
Dolce.
And the second that guy gets off the scale, he's drinking like super salinated water. Like he's just totally replenishing all his electrolytes and increasing his sodium count so he can start packing the weight back on.
Yeah.
And he also cuts a lot of weight and
Cuts
fights.
a lot of
He
weight.
fights very close. I mean, he trains very close. You know, he's only got 15 pounds to lose prior to weigh-in.
But he
You know,
walks around.
That's
He walks
better-
around
That's
huge.
better than most
215.
people.
Yeah,
That's better
more
than most
than that.
fighters.
More than that.
I don't know. Last thing I read was he was saying he walks around 250.
225
225.
as per.
He's a big dude.
As per Mike
Period.
Dolce.
It's just not that
I
tall.
would like to see after a few years people like studying the consequences of people losing the amount of weight that they caught in
Oh,
the
that's
UFC.